It's amazing when you think about it, how quickly AI has just become a part of everything. We're talking
Yeah.
business government. Even just the apps on our phones here in Malaysia and across ASEAN, it's just become,
Totally.
it's not science fiction anymore. It's just here.
It's the reality we live in.
It really is. And with all this change and all this potential, I think there's a really big question we have to ask ourselves.
Absolutely.
Are we really paying attention to how these AI systems are being managed?
Yeah, that's a huge one. And it's not just about us as the people using it, right?
Right.
It comes down to the companies, the platforms, the suppliers, the people who are actually building these AI tools.
Yeah, the ones giving it to us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that brings us to what we're really digging into today.
Okay, so for this deep dive, we are laser focused on one super important question. Something we think is absolutely essential for anyone trying to make sense of this AI world, and especially if you're running a small or medium-sized enterprise,
SME.
SME.
Yep.
You got to ask this question.
You've got to ask it.
Ask your platforms and suppliers, where's the AI oversight?
Where is it?
That's the question.
Big question.
Now, to really get a handle on this, we've got some great source material that we've been looking at. We've got excerpts from the AI Governance MPC Forum May 2024.pdf, the Asian Guide on AI Governance and Ethics, and then the National Guidelines on AI Governance Ethics.pdf.
A lot of very important information in those.
Yeah, and our mission here is to break it all down for it. Pull out the most important insights about AI governance and why you should actually care about this stuff, especially when you're working with, outside platforms and suppliers for AI.
Especially if you're trusting them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So consider this your shortcut to understanding a critical part of the AI world without having to wade through all the jargon yourself.
That's what we're here for.
Okay, so first things first, why is this question of AI oversight so important right now? What's the big deal?
Well, I think what's striking is how fast AI is moving from this kind of theoretical concept to actually being implemented and used everywhere, The AI governance document really drives this point home. It's not something that's way off in the future. It's already changing industries at an incredible pace. We see it optimizing operations, influencing policies.
Wow.
And just becoming like a core part of how businesses work.
And it's interesting because here in Malaysia, we're seeing a really focused effort on AI, right?
We are.
The National AI Roadmap 2021-2025, that's the AI RMAP. We see that in the national guidelines, and it's a pretty ambitious plan.
It is.
They want to make Malaysia like a high-tech nation, a real leader, and they see AI as a key to boosting productivity and driving innovation.
It makes sense.
It does. And, zooming out a little bit, it's not just Malaysia that's paying attention to this, right? ASEAN as a whole is recognizing the importance of AI.
Absolutely.
The ASEAN Guide on AI Governance and Ethics that shows a real regional commitment to setting these common principles and frameworks for how we develop and use AI.
Yeah, they're really trying to get everybody on the same page.
Makes sense. And the national guidelines even talk about this ASEAN effort. They're highlighting this, coordinated approach.
It's definitely a coordinated approach.
Because things are moving so fast.
So fast.
So how does all of this connect to, our listener out there? Why should they care about this stuff?
Well, I think the takeaway here is that as AI becomes more and more integrated into our businesses, our everyday lives, understanding how these systems are governed, or maybe more importantly, how they're not being governed, is crucial.
Right.
It's crucial for staying competitive, but also for making sure we're doing things the right way.
Responsibly.
Responsibly, exactly. The AI governance document really makes this clear. To navigate this new digital world, effectively, we need to grasp AI oversight.
Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of a big abstract idea.
It is.
How do we make this a little bit more concrete? Can you give me an example?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's think about this in a business context, something we can all relate to.
Okay, let's make it practical.
All right. Imagine you're an SME. Let's say you decide to outsource a really important part of your business. Maybe your accounting or your online sales platform.
Yeah.
You're not just going to pick some random company to do that, are you?
No way.
You want to really vet them. You'd look into their history, their security, their compliance with all the rules. You'd do your due diligence.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Right.
we would ask for references,
Right.
check their credentials, maybe even do like a trial period to see how they work.
Exactly.
We need to know that they're handling these critical parts of our business responsibly and in a way that protects our business and protects our customer.
Makes total sense, right?
Right.
Now think about an AI platform or supplier. In the same way, you're basically trusting them with a type of automated decision-making, whether it's a chatbot, a data analytics tool, an automated marketing system, whatever it is.
Yeah.
To just rely on these tools without understanding how they're governed is kind of like blindly trusting that outsourced vendor without any oversight.
Yeah, like just hoping for the best.
It's the same idea.
Okay, so you're saying just like we'd scrutinize a cloud storage provider's data encryption methods, we need to be asking our AI suppliers about their AI oversight.
That's the key.
Okay, that analogy really helps.
Good.
So let's get into the nitty-gritty here. What are the risks if SMEs aren't asking these questions? What could actually go wrong?
Well, that's where things get a little bit scary.
Oh, boy.
Both the ASEAN Guide and the national guidelines point out several potential pitfalls.
Okay.
Let's take a really practical example. Something an SME might encounter. Let's say you've got a small e-commerce business and you're using an AI tool to personalize product recommendations on your website.
Okay, makes sense.
Now, if the AI system hasn't been properly checked for the data it's using and the algorithms it's running, it could start recommending certain products to specific groups of people based on bad data or biased data.
So it's like accidentally discriminating?
It could be, yeah.
Okay, so imagine this SME. They're trying to do the right thing, but their AI is showing certain products to women, but not men, or offering cheaper products to people in richer areas.
Yeah, that's a real possibility.
Even if it's unintentional, that could really hurt their brand reputation. They could get customer complaints, maybe even legal issues.
And for a small business.
That could be devastating.
Devastating, exactly.
Wow.
And it goes beyond just that. The ASEAN Guide also talks about risks like AI generating false information, which could mislead customers.
Right, like what if my AI research tool gives me bad data about the market and I make a bad business decision based on that? I lose money.
And then there's the whole world of deepfakes, AI-generated videos and audio that can make it look like someone is saying or doing something they never did.
That's scary.
It's getting more and more sophisticated, and it can really hurt a company's credibility or even be used for fraud.
Right.
And we can't forget about intellectual property either. If an AI tool is creating content for you, it might accidentally copy something that's copyrighted, and then you're in trouble.
So many things to worry about.
There are, and with AI processing more and more customer data, the risks to privacy and confidentiality are huge if your AI supplier doesn't have strong data protection practices in place. Right, we've got the Personal Data Protection Act here in Malaysia. You got to make sure your AI partners are following the rules.
Absolutely. And then there's the whole issue of bias. If the data used to train the AI is biased, then the AI is going to be biased.
It's just going to learn all the wrong things.
Exactly. And for an SME trying to be fair and ethical, that can be a major problem.
So we've got the urgency, we've got the risks now. Let's get to the practical part. What should SMEs actually be asking their AI platforms and suppliers?
Yeah. What questions should they be asking?
What are the key areas of AI oversight that they need to be looking into?
Okay, so based on what we've seen in these documents, there are several fundamental things to investigate.
Okay, lay it on me. First off, internal governance structures. You want to ask, does this platform or supplier have a dedicated team or a group, maybe like an AI ethics advisory board, that's specifically focused on making sure the AI is developed and used ethically?
So they can't just say, oh, yeah, we care about ethics. They need to show you how they actually do it.
Right. They need a framework, people in charge, a process.
Okay, makes sense. What else?
The second big area is risk assessment and mitigation. You want to ask them what processes they have to find and evaluate the risks of their AI systems.
Okay.
And more importantly, how do they reduce those risks?
So if it's a high-risk application, do they have a human double-checking the AI's decisions?
That's a great example, especially in areas like finance or healthcare where the stakes are high. You want that human element in there.
Absolutely. Okay, what's next?
Next up, data governance. You have to understand where the data for the AI comes from, how they make sure it's good data, relevant data, and unbiased data.
And, of course, how they're protecting that data.
Especially sensitive information. This is where the Personal Data Protection Act comes in.
Okay, so we've got the ethics, we've got the data. What about understanding how the AI actually works?
That's where transparency and explainability come in.
Can we get under the hood a little bit?
You should be able to, you want to ask your provider how transparent their systems are.
Yeah.
Can they explain how the AI makes decisions, especially decisions that could affect your business or your customers?
So if I'm using an AI tool to approve loans and the AI rejects someone's application, the provider should be able to tell me why.
Exactly. And even though some AI can be really complex, the national guidelines say we should still strive for understandability in how these systems work.
Okay, then we have fairness and equity. This is a big one.
Huge.
What should we be asking about that?
You want to know what safeguards they have in place to prevent the algorithms from discriminating against certain groups of people or making existing inequalities worse?
Okay.
And how do they test for bias and fix any problems they find?
This goes beyond just following the law. It's about building trust with your customers.
And last but not least, who's responsible if something goes wrong? That's accountability.
Right.
You need to know who's ultimately responsible for the AI's actions and what happens if there's a problem. The national guidelines are very clear that there needs to be clear lines of responsibility.
Okay, so that's a lot of questions.
It is.
But it sounds like being informed and proactive is really the key.
Absolutely. And if you're looking to learn more and connect with others who are thinking about these same issues, there's a great organization here in Malaysia called the Malaysia Project Management Community, or MPC.
Oh, yeah, we saw them mentioned in the AI governance document. Tell me about them.
They're a professional body that's really dedicated to improving project management practices and helping people develop their skills in this area.
Cool.
The AI governance document highlights how they create a platform for sharing knowledge, working together across industries, and raising the bar for how projects are managed.
So they're all about best practices and professional development.
Exactly. They've been around since 2005, and they're all about helping Malaysian professionals learn and grow.
And they've got an event coming up that's really relevant to what we've been talking about, right?
Yeah, the MPC Forum in May 2025 is going to be all about AI governance, responsible AI strategies, and the rules and regulations that are shaping the future of AI in Malaysia.
That sounds perfect.
It is.
So who should be going to this forum?
Well, it's really designed for a wide range of people.
All right.
Anyone who wants to learn more about AI and how to use it responsibly.
Okay.
So that includes business leaders who need to make sure their AI plans are ethical and follow the rules. It's important for government people who are making those rules.
Right.
It's for IT and beta professionals who are actually building and using AI solutions.
Yeah.
And even academics and researchers who are studying AI and thinking about its impact.
So what can people expect to get out of going to this forum?
A lot they'll hear from experts about how AI is being used in the real world and how to implement it responsibly in their own organizations. They'll learn about the impact of AI governance on business strategy, risk management, compliance. They'll learn how to balance the potential of AI with the need for ethics and regulation.
Cool.
And maybe most importantly, they'll get to meet and connect with other leaders, policymakers, tech people, and researchers who are shaping the future of AI in Malaysia.
That sounds like a really valuable opportunity.
It is.
So if our listeners want to find out more about the MPC Forum, where should they go?
They should check out the MPC website, mpc.org.myba. You'll find all the details about the forum there, including how to register and what topics they'll be covering.
Perfect. So to sum it all up, the big takeaway from this deep dive is simple: ask questions, be proactive.
Don't be afraid to ask.
Especially if you're an SME, you need to be asking your AI platforms and suppliers about their AI oversight. It's not just a good idea, it's essential.
It really is.
It's how you protect your business from risk and make sure you're using AI in a responsible and sustainable way.
It's also about building trust with your customers, trust in your own operations, and trust in the technology itself.
That's a great point.
By asking those tough questions, you're not just protecting yourself. You're helping to create a more ethical and accountable AI ecosystem for everyone.
Absolutely. So we'll leave you, our listener, with this final thought. As AI becomes more and more a part of how our world works, how will our commitment to scrutinizing its governance shape the future of trust and innovation in this digital economy?
It's something to think about.
It is. It's a big question, and it might lead you to even more questions that you need to ask yourself.
Always keep asking questions.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.